Well, it's official. PlayStation finally has its new CEO, or should I say co-CEOs. It is Sunday, so let's get sensational. I'm Mike, and no, I'm not a PlayStation CEO, but it looks like they'll have two as of June 1st. So Jim Ryan was the former CEO of PlayStation, but he retired, and then they had an interim CEO, Hiroki Totoki, who's also the president of Sony Interactive Entertainment. So he's going back to his role as president, while Hideki Nishino and Herman Holst will be the new CEOs, or CEOs, or co-CEOs of PlayStation. So Nishino is currently in charge of the team that develops software experiences and tech for PlayStation service and products, according to the Gadget article. And he will still be responsible for those things as CEO, but he'll also be in charge of working with third-party developers and publishers, as well as sales and marketing and hardware and services. And the other CEO that's been named, Holst, was in charge of game development across console and PC, as well as handling TV series like The Last of Us. So like Nishino, he'll still be responsible for the things in his previous role, plus development, publishing, and business operations for first-party content. So basically, Nishino will deal with third parties, hardware, and the software experience, aka things like the operating system for the consoles, and Holst will be over their first party games and content like TV shows and deal with operational expenses. It's interesting that they divided the role into two, and I'm wondering if this will be a different PlayStation than it was under Jim Ryan. I'm guessing it probably won't be, because they've been doing this big prestige game thing for so long now, and with the gaming industry being in trouble right now from a monetary standpoint, I don't see them wanting to take too many risks and make too many changes. They'll probably continue their PC strategy to help them gain more revenue, even though they almost messed it up with the whole Helldivers 2 PSN account fiasco recently. But despite that whole thing, Sony did confirm during an investors call that Helldivers 2 is the fastest selling PlayStation game of all time, selling 12 million copies in 12 weeks. This was previously held by God of War Ragnarok, which sold 11 million in that same time frame. Now this was obviously boosted by the PC sales, since it was the first PlayStation game to release on PS5 and PC at the same time. I'm sure if Ragnarok had released on PC along with the PS5 version, it probably would have actually beat out Helldivers 2, since it was only 1 million away from that number anyway. But it's kind of ironic that Sony said that after the whole PSN fiasco, because that may have done damage to one of their more recent PC games, specifically Ghost of Tsushima. So it was already known that it was going to require PSN to play online co-op, and it's the first game getting Sony's PC overlay and trophy support. Now, since this is primarily a single player game, you wouldn't think that the PSN requirement would be too much of an issue, but apparently pre-orders for the game for people in countries without PSN were being automatically canceled and refunded. So Steam, Green Man Gaming, and Epic Game Store all started automatically refunding and canceling orders for people that were outside of regions that support PSN, and sending them an email basically saying portions of the game are now requiring a secondary account, and this account can't be created in your country. Like I said before, this doesn't affect being able to play the single player, but I imagine due to the recent backlash with Helldivers 2, all these platforms are trying to get ahead of people asking for refunds if they can't play multiplayer. I'm not sure how popular the multiplayer portion of this game will be, or if it was necessary to cancel pre-orders for people in regions without PSN, but I can understand, because after Sony made the PSN requirement for Helldivers 2, the developer and the storefronts had to absorb most of the backlash from the game's community until Sony finally changed their mind. That probably put a lot of strain on their support staff, and the storefronts probably don't want to deal with that again. But I guess we'll see if this has any impact on the game's sales long term. But you know who will probably be changing their PC strategy soon outside of Sony? Square Enix. So it's time for this week's layoff announcement, and yep, it's Square. So they haven't laid off anyone yet, but it's being reported that their president confirmed in an internal town hall that they'll be doing layoffs in their publishing arm, IT, and indie divisions in the US and Europe. There's no word on how many people will be affected by this, but this comes after they saw their profits drop by 15.8%. They recently stated that they're going to shift their focus to multi-platform. While Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth sold well, they obviously would have made more money if they weren't timed PlayStation 5 exclusives. I mean, at this point, even Sony's trying to publish games off their own platform much faster, so it doesn't really make sense to do platform exclusivity as an independent publisher unless the money Sony paid them would beat what they would have got by releasing it on PC and possibly on Xbox. Either way, as of right now, Square hasn't laid off anyone yet, but it's probably coming soon. And you know what else is coming soon as of next month? The June showcase for Xbox, and it's being rumored that they're going to announce the next Call of Duty game is coming to Game Pass on day one. So this is being reported by the Wall Street Journal, but it's rumored that this will be announced next month around what used to be E3 time. Microsoft so far has been pretty slow to put Activision Blizzard games on Game Pass. Diablo 4 was the first one to make it there, but there hasn't been much talk about what games are coming when. Call of Duty is obviously a big deal because it's usually one of the best-selling games every year, and having it on Game Pass can really boost their subscriptions. The only thing we do know for sure about Call of Duty is that they'll still be multi-platform because they agreed to that prior to purchasing Activision Blizzard. They also promised that they would bring the game to Nintendo consoles, but I don't expect to see that this year, so they didn't close the deal with Activision until the end of last year, so the game was well into development by then. Personally, I don't really play Call of Duty that much. I don't hate the games, but they're not my favorite. However, I'll definitely check it out if it's on Game Pass. Now, the PC Gamer article also recounts that Game Pass subscriptions have been falling, which I covered a couple of months ago, and Microsoft has been more focused on services and subscriptions than hardware. So yeah, if they put Call of Duty on Game Pass on day one, that would be a huge boost for the service. Just like I'm sure GTA 6 will be huge whenever it comes out. Let's just go ahead and talk about it today. And our final story. So personally, I've been waiting for GTA 6 for a long time. Let me try that again. So personally, I've been waiting for GTA 6 for a long ass time. And when they finally did the reveal trailer, it just said 2025 for the release date, which that's just a year. Well, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick confirmed during an earnings call that they're aiming for fall 2025 to release GTA 6. So yeah, it looks like we're probably still over a year away from GTA 6, and that's if it doesn't run into development problems and get pushed even further. Strauss was also asked if they preferred that window because of the holidays and obviously people will spend more money around that time. And he said, while it is preferable, that they would probably sell a bunch of copies either way because of the hype around the game. It's because you made us desperate. GTA 5 released on the PS3 and 360. We thirsty, just give us the game already. Alright, let me just compose myself a little bit. I'm just going to ask y'all, are y'all excited for GTA 6? We're going to go ahead and bring it to a close. I'm going to go ahead and do a woosah. Let me know what you think down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification to notify when I drop a video or a live stream. And I always do at least 2 things at the same time. Peace out.